Today they may be secure, we may give them a certificate. What happens 1 week later, right? What happens 1 month later? They can't keep doing security audits every single day or every single month. So that's where Gauntlet was born. It was born out of necessity. So because we have worked on hundreds of product security applications, so we do what's called as vulnerability assessments, penetration testing, or what's called as VAPT, product security assessments. Essentially ethical hacking as a service. So we have looked at thousands of security vulnerabilities. We have reported them to our customers.
I'm ready, partner. And it grew to...
There are 4 main pillars of Gauntlet. And take it from me, if any company assures you that we give you 100% security, or if they tell their customers that use a product you'll be 100% secure, they're lying, right? So we call it snake oil. No one can assure you 100% security. But we believe that these are the 4 main pillars that most companies struggle with. By no means this is the end, right? So this is a continuous, it's work in progress. Security is always a chasing game. But we wanted to solve these first. So one of the big problems is cloud security posture management. It talks about the problem that I was mentioning earlier. So if you're using any of those 200 plus cloud services, you also need to keep track of the security of them. We have completely automated that 100%. We are completely agentless, which means that what happened with CrowdStrike about half a year ago is impossible with us because you don't even install anything at your end, right? So that way your privacy is protected, there is less risk of bad code running at your end. The second...
At massive velocity, we have a digital year program launched by the Prime Minister about 8 to 10 years back. Smart cities, smart this, smart that.
Gauntlet internally, so we are, so as I mentioned, so about 7 years ago, so we are actually bootstrapped.
Cisco, almost split between the two. So I just have been listening to some of these questions, and let me give you a perspective from the market. Okay, so and from India, right? So there are 3-4 vectors that are today going around in the cyber ecosystem in India. One, we have this.
There's a little bit of anxiety from the back, so maybe.
Okay. So
many of the customers are saying that their existing solution providers don't do it, but of course they are still understanding what it means to use GenAI. And oftentimes they just make an API call to some external OpenAI, for instance, and gain access to data. But in terms of, so we've spoken to a lot of customers to see, they may be already using, let's say, Palo Alto solution or any of the competitor solution. We talk about, for instance, support, right? So what we have realized is that one, a product has to be cutting edge, but secondly, many times customers don't even understand how to use the product. So once they go to the dashboard, we can actually show you all the dashboard after this. They have the question, okay, now I purchased your subscription, now I gain access to the dashboard, what next? Where do I go? So we have built up the product in a very intuitive manner so that it becomes self-service, does not require a security person at your end.
We have in the digital space. Just to give you an example, there are more transactions done in India per month on the digital platform than Americas plus Europe plus China put together. I mean, you need to absorb this metric. It's huge. What is also happening, and that's a downside, is that the secure India is trying to catch up with digital India, right? So it's a catch-up game, and there's a gap. And this gap is being acknowledged by the regulators in India. The National Cybersecurity Office, the Department of Telecom, the Ministry of IT, they acknowledge this gap. And this gap is largely tenanted by small and medium businesses. You must be aware that over 65% of Indian business today is small and medium business. Aspirational. They want to get onto digital platforms, get onto cloud first. They want to sell in businesses, especially in the fintech space. NBFCs, cooperative banks. So there is an unaddressed segment, a large unaddressed segment where you need products like Gauntlet. The second aspect is about, the 3 familiar pillars we know about cyber: people, process, technology. right? Now, and you're also familiar that this is one of the spaces where talent is at a premium. You don't get talent.
One second. Ready? Got that, sir. For close to 40 years. I headed some of the well-known large companies. And
I'm the principal architect of Gauntlet. So I've been part of this team and initial developer of Gauntlet. And I've also taken up many different roles for Gauntlet. Part of the marketing team as well and the sales team as well. So I have also presented in many conferences such as the Cloud Security Alliance chapter and also in the Women in Security conferences.
Expertise in cybersecurity and cloud security. Hi everyone, I am Sunil Kumar. I am expert consultant in Gauntlet. I have been in the security industry for last 10 years, securing hundreds of applications, especially cloud applications. And also we have demonstrated our research in prestigious conferences like Black Hat, First Conference, AppSec and PAX. Thank you.
These days, almost any serious technology platform either runs on the cloud or has a significant cloud component. The cloud platforms provide some great foundation to enable scaling, but they're not your complete platform. You still need to build that, your software. And modern software has gotten complicated. It's built on many components, sourced from many vendors, connected through a dependency network that is dense and shifting, and that's a lot to manage. And then there's the regulatory and compliance considerations. Regimes like NIST, ISO, CMMC are all becoming prevalent, even required, especially when you want to do business with governments, not just in the US, but globally. When followed, they can be a huge benefit. I'm a big fan, but they're complicated too and can be very costly to implement. Handling all that complexity requires a great deal of effort, skill, and diligence. And the people who have those skills we know are
Say, for instance, if you are using OpenAI, for instance, right? So, which is one of the most popular platform, ChatGPT's API integration. So we use OpenAI, and the costs of using OpenAI has dropped quite significantly. So it's basically like if you make about 50 to 60 API calls, it just costs $1 or so. So that way they have commoditized it, made it accessible to the general audience. But one thing I want to make everyone aware is that it's experimental. Right? So if you go to ChatGPT, it actually says, this disclaimer saying, don't look for accuracy here. So that is something we strongly recommend for all of our customers. Even when we give results using OpenAI, we say that this is for guidance. You should review it, make sure that it is suiting your cloud. And that any DevOps or what we call as an SRE, site reliability engineer, they should be able to understand.
yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Sumant Naropant. I'm the founder and CEO of Gauntlet and the founder and CEO of another company called Deep Armor. I've been doing cybersecurity for a long time. I'm actually a Bangalorean, studied in Bangalore and worked with a professor in Indian Institute of Science who inspired me to get into cybersecurity. So that was the start of a journey that has lasted for 20 years now almost, and it's still going strong. So I work for a company called Deep Armor and Gauntlet. So Gauntlet is a cloud security, AI security, and code security company. We work with businesses that are using any of these services. It could be AI services, it could be code development services, and so on, because there are a lot of new risks that many of these companies are not aware of. They may be excellent architects, they may be excellent developers, but expecting them to be experts in security is not valid. So that's where Gauntlet comes into picture. We stop security breaches through Gauntlet. We give them advanced notifications. We are continuously running in their cloud, so that way we give them notifications as and when a problem happens, instead of notifying them many days later on. We are also believers in compliance, so we work with many different standards and regulatory bodies. So we help our customers meet standards such as ISO, NIST, HIPAA, GDPR, as well as many of the Indian standards like RBI, SEBI, and in the future DPDP as well. So that way we are proud to say that we are a cybersecurity company driving innovation at the cutting edge for the world. out of Bangalore, India. So we are making in India, making for the world.
Sir, how does AI